What's up? My name is Alex. Today I thought I would go over an old short film that I made almost 10 years ago. I published it to YouTube, coming up on 9 years. It's been a really interesting experience because this video has kind of garnered some views. And through the years, people have given me constructive feedback, which, whether I wanted it or not, was super important to my young, aspiring filmmaking career. And so I thought I'd get my own thoughts because it's been a long time since I've revisited this short film. I don't think I watched it in years. So if you haven't seen this film, it's on my channel. It's called Letter, dramatic short film. So please feel free to watch it, and then you can come back to this video and then I'll share my thoughts. And then of course, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I have had so much enjoyment through the years reading people's comments whenever they come in. It's been really good. So let's jump right into it. This is gonna be interesting. But yeah, here we go. Letter, dramatic short film. Lots of birds. All right, so I shot this on the Canon T2i. This is my first camera that I had, and I only had one lens. It was the Olympus OM f1.8. It was like an old vintage lens because that's really all that I had. It's all that I could afford. I saw this shot that I wanted to get, which is this top down, kind of looking down at this character. I remember when I made it, I had some friends who were like, what's with the birds? You know, what's the reason for that? But at this young age, I was really getting into subtext and the fact that you can tell a story with the visuals and the sound and the editing, how those are all extra elements that can convey and tell the story. And I was like, this is amazing. That film is so much deeper than I initially thought it was. And so I'm trying to remember now. I mean, it's been years. I don't even remember exactly what, I know I had a good reason for the birds. I thought, oh my gosh, this is an amazing idea. And I think it was something along the lines of like nature will do its course. Like every morning, the birds are awake and they are noisy and they wake us up and they kind of take us out of our dreams or our sleep. But what if those birds that usually wake us up out of our dreams that are good are bringing us into our nightmares, which is our reality, which is kind of the whole premise of this film, is this character who's stuck in his past regrets that he wishes he could change, but he can't. And that's kind of, I think, what my intention was, I think. So this main character, his name's Kyle, is played by my brother Tanner. So Tanner is a filmmaker himself. He's directed short films, and we often have collaborated in the past, and he was kind enough to be my lead. When I wrote this script, I was like, I have no one else who can play this. I had no connections. I did not want it to be like a child or a kid who was my age, because that just would come off as not legit. Luckily, he stepped in for me. One night, he came over, and we got this quick shot, and the whole film is lit with literally one single like 500 watt halogen work light. That's all I had, and a bed sheet. Like this, what I used as diffusion is a bed sheet with an old like green screen backdrop thing that I'd clamp up and then I'd shoot the work light through there. And that's all I used. And most of the film, I'd probably say like 80% of the film is just naturally lit. But I'm actually pretty proud of the shot. I was just standing over him with a tripod. I have always believed, and I still do, and I'm glad that I even believed it all these years ago, that the opening shot should be very strong, and even if the rest of your film lacks, you should at least have a strong opening to kind of captivate people. And I'm not saying that this is like anything amazing, but compared to the rest of the film, it's maybe a little bit more of its stronger visuals. Proud of that match cut. I didn't have anything to help me find it, but I just did it. And then this is kind of the, you know, Ebenezer Scrooge, a Christmas Carol idea that he's seeing his past experiences. There he is. Shout out to my sister Madison for filling in the role quick. I wasn't a very good director. I was just like argue with each other, just kind of go at it. And they did great. And this is when I was discovering my taste in the type of films that I like absolutely loved. Like Inception's my favorite movie of all time, and of course, everyone knows that movie's got kind of an ambiguous ending. I love movies that kind of leave you with open-ended thoughts and questions. That was kind of the intention from the get-go. And some people don't buy it, some people don't love it, and that's, I mean, it is what it is. And there he is again. I thought you lost your way.
Didn't think you'd have this nice of a place.
Okay, so that's my boy. That's my boy Spencer. I had initially casted someone else as this, and we were shooting the film, and then they dropped out like an hour or two before. And so Spencer was a total champ and was like, yeah, I was like, hey, can you fill in and do this spot? And he's like, I got you. And so this is where it kind of gets interesting, because he's like clearly like 13, and then he's like giving him a gun and knives, and it's like, who's this kid and why is he like an arms dealer? Spencer did a great job for what he was given. But this is just kind of part of guerrilla filmmaking, I guess. You can also hear my 14-year-old dialogue that I wrote up, which I've never been good at, by the way, writing dialogue.
What'd you bring me?
So he comes out and he gets
I
him.
have 2 options.
Yeah, gun. They're delivering this thing pretty good. Like this is no Tarantino writing this up. And a knife, right out of the kitchen drawer.
What's that?
And so this is this moment where you're kind of like, uh-oh. He's remembering this, of course, because he had this, but we're starting to figure out, uh-oh, he's mad at someone. This is the reason I wrote this film, is I had this scene that we're about to watch in my head, and I was like, this scene seems so sick. The rest of the films, I was kind of like running and gunning and just getting whatever came to the top of my head. This one, I came to the day before, I pre-lit everything I set up, which was, again, like 2 lights in the inside. But I came and I had storyboarded it. I had mapped it out, I'd taken pictures of what I wanted to get. I mean, when I watch it, it kind of plays how I saw it, at least all those years. The score of this film was written by a good friend of mine, Joe, who came in clutch, wrote up this music like instantly. I didn't give him like any time to write anything. I was like, all right, what do you got up? We were like in GarageBand with a keyboard, and he came up with it. This film was just with a lot of people who were willing to help out and pitch in, and they gave their best effort. And I didn't give them a lot of time to like perfect things or clean things up or to give like the highest quality performance that they could. But for what I gave them, they did phenomenal. Seeing it actually unfold and the pieces come together, and I explained it to everyone, they're like, oh yeah, we can do this. I mean, it was pretty sweet. So he comes in, who is that? That's a car maybe you recognize from earlier. I hop in here onto the back of a car. You can definitely see that I'm in the back of a car. You can actually see that, the brake lights on his face. But he's walking in, you see him, he's kind of, the music's getting in more intense, he's running. And then he comes off and all heck is breaking loose. He's running up. Man, don't watch this on too big of a screen. So the guy in the car is my now brother-in-law. He got out and he's playing Tanner's character, Kyle. He goes inside during all this part, and then he came inside and played that part. So he was 2 guys in a single take. It was just cool to see, like, wow, like people are getting the vision and there's different moving parts going on. Bang. I worked on forever trying to make that powerful. My limited knowledge was not enough, I guess. And I thought that this was like the coolest thing I had ever come up with. He has this, reflection, and this whole film he's been watching himself, and it's like the symbolic representation of that he's been reflecting and seeing his reflection of his past and who he has become. So I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then there's those birds again, which I think when I'm watching it, it's like I'm seeing what my initial thought was, is it's wake me up out of this dream, but it's not a dream, it's your reality. Even if the birds wake you up, it's just you're stuck in what it is. Cheers to Tanner. I mean, I was like, all right, now cry, and he did it. He did fantastic. Okay, what's going on? And so I was trying to add these elements of, we've seen these props, this mask he's had, this gun, something that represents maybe he's moved back in time a little bit. Again, Joe wrote this music in like an hour and a half. Totally clutch. And then this is one extra element that maybe people will miss. I wanted to add one last sound of a crow. And I wanted to leave that up to the audience to discover what that meant, because I thought I was just being genius here.
Can I help you?
And there you go. Now, I kind of feel like it's clear to what I intended or what I think it means. But if you watch it, please tell me what you think. I pinned this comment: severe regrets, emotional, remorseful, redemptive, forgiveness, what could have been, or a chance to change what might have been. I think he nailed it right on the head of what I intended with this. It's cool to just see that there are some people that interpreted it completely differently, which was the point. So I'm proud of that part. Again, like, issues with the story is it's super muddled. It's not really clear like what's going on. A lot of things could have been established a lot better. And the original script was actually pretty different. I wrote it. It was like originally a 15-page script. I ended up having to just cut scenes altogether. There's a couple other scenes that we shot that I think I left out because they just did not support the film at all. Again, I'm not saying that this film is incredible. It's not a masterpiece. There's a lot of holes. The plot, the story, the way that we made it. I mean, I made this film in like 6 hours with its initial idea, and it did come together in some way. I mean, again, it's not perfect, but it did come together, and I'm really, really proud of that. I submitted it to a local film festival to me. It was for teens, and so I was like, local teen film festival with the cash prize of $1,000 to the best winner. I'm gonna make something that's gonna blow them away, and I'm easily gonna win that prize. So I submitted the film, and then you don't really hear anything, but a couple weeks later, the film festival happened. I showed up, they start announcing things, they're getting closer to the best prize winner. I haven't heard the film yet. They get up and they say, all right, this is, the best drama. And then they announced this film. And normally that is a big win, right? Because you won something, you won best drama. This is clearly a drama film, and so to win that is fantastic. But that is not how I felt at all. I said, are you kidding me? I put so much blood, sweat, and tears to this project, and I didn't even win the top prize. And I think me not winning was much better for me than if I won. The following year, I submitted another film to the film festival, which I also had posted to YouTube for years, and I actually took it down. That was an example of I created something that was not for myself. I created it with an audience in mind because I became kind of obsessed that I needed to win. And the film that won was not the type of film that I made, so I needed to make a film like that in order to win the thing. And it did not go in my favor. And it was just a great example because I look back at that project and I'm just like, this is just not a good film at all. And I was not true to myself. I was creating something that wasn't who I was. But this film, I see its faults, of course, but I am proud of it because I do think it is authentic to myself, and I kept my integrity by making a film like this, because this is a film in that kind of genre or theme that I would make, and it is the type of films that I do enjoy. And there was no big gain from this, but it kept me passionate about it, and I did want to go and create another project after I made this. So all in all, this has been a great experience, this film. I think it's really important that you go out and do something that brings you joy. Creating this film didn't make me any money, but it brought me immense joy, and it brought me some skills that I've later taken in my life that I don't think I would have learned so much. So at the end of the day, I would just say, go out and create things that make you happy. Passion projects are so good for the soul as a creative person. Going out and shooting something not with like money in mind, not with the intention that I'm gonna go out and sell this or I'm gonna go build a huge following because of the content that I'm creating. Just go out and build something that you really have fun with and just keeps your creative soul happy. And that's super important. It's super important for me. I burn out really, really fast if I'm not engaged in passion projects. You'll look back on them and you might be embarrassed, but you will have learned so much from it. So that's all I'm gonna say about Letter Dramatic Short Film. Thank you for watching this video. Again, if you haven't seen the short film, you can find it on my channel or I will link it somewhere. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you next time.